What if one of the most beloved stories in the world never existed? What if Harry Potter, the boy who captured the hearts of millions, was never published? No magic wands, no Hogwarts, no lightning scar. In this video, we'll dive deep into a world without Harry Potter and see how this would change people's lives, children's stories, and the world of fantasy. We'll imagine how our childhoods might have changed without the stories of magic and friendship that shaped generations. We'll look at what children might have read or dreamed about instead, and how the fantasy genre could have grown along a very different path. So settle in as we explore the quiet world left behind when a story never makes it to the page. What if Harry Potter was never published? The story remained inside a drawer in a quiet Edinburgh flat, half finished, never shared. J.K. Rowling, unsure or simply distracted by life, never completed the manuscript. The magical world we came to know never reached our shelves, our homes, or our hearts. The world moved on without the boy who survived. In this version of reality, childhood feels slightly different. No robes worn proudly in school hallways. Schoolyards never echoed with spells exchanged between friends. No one asked which Hogwarts house they belonged to, or imagined flying on broomsticks above the clouds. The shared excitement of growing up with Harry, reading each new book as it arrived, standing in midnight lines, watching the films with wide eyes, never became part of growing up. One of the great shared languages of childhood simply never existed. Children still read, of course. They find stories of adventure and heroes. But something is missing. Something that brought millions together, that made reading feel like falling into a dream. For some, the love of stories might have come later, or not at all. The world of fantasy changes too. Without the global success of Harry Potter, publishers hesitated to embrace other magical stories. Magical stories still appear, but fewer make it to print. Some authors never get their chance. The genre doesn't vanish, but it grows more slowly, tucked away instead of celebrated. What Harry Potter brought was more than magic spells and adventure. It gave millions of children a reason to read, to imagine, and to connect. Without it, a generation might have grown up just a little less enchanted, and the stories that followed might have taken longer to find their way. In the early 2000s, bookstores felt alive, shelves overflowing with books about wands, spells, magical creatures, and schoolboys who saved the world. Harry Potter wasn't just a series, it was a presence. Entire displays were built around it. Toy aisles sold broomsticks. Magazines ran Hogwarts house quizzes. The books weren't just read, they were lived. Now, picture that same bookstore without the boy who survived. The centre table, once stacked with magical adventures, now displays more general fiction. No lightning bolts on lunchboxes. No castle-themed Lego sets. Scholastic, the US publisher of Harry Potter, wouldn't have seen the $7 billion surge that changed its future. Without those profits, other children's books may have struggled to get published or promoted. Warner Brothers never launches a multi-billion-dollar film franchise. Universal Studios never builds the wizarding world of Harry Potter, one of the most profitable themed attractions in history. Would another story have taken its place? Maybe. But it would have been different, maybe more serious, maybe darker. Twilight may still have emerged, or The Hunger Games. But they were shaped in the wake of Potter, launched in a time when fantasy books for young people were already popular. Without Harry, maybe that kind of world would have come later, or maybe never at all. And what of the bookshelves themselves? No explosion of fantasy in the kids' section, no rise of middle-grade epics inspired by Rowling's success. Stories still arrive, about vampires, dystopias and dragons, but they feel lonelier, tucked into corners rather than taking centre stage. Without Harry, the air is missing something, a spark, a sense of shared wonder. But what if, even without being written, the story still tried to reach us? As if something was missing, not something we could name, but something we could feel. A quiet emptiness in our imagination, a space that feels like it was always meant for something magical. And then, maybe years later, someone finds a forgotten notebook in an old drawer. The pages are yellowed. The story is half finished. It tells of a boy, marked by lightning, who finds a hidden world. They read it slowly, carefully, and as they turn each page, they feel something strange. Not surprise, but recognition, as if the story had been waiting, and somehow we always knew it. So what really happens to a story that's never told? Does it simply disappear, or does it wait quietly for someone to find it? Maybe stories don't vanish. Maybe they linger in dreams, in whispers, in the space between what is and what could be, waiting for the right voice, the right moment. And maybe the magic we found in Harry Potter was never just in the pages. Maybe it lived in us all along, in the way we believed in invisible worlds, in friendship stronger than fear, in courage found in the quietest hearts. Even without Harry, perhaps someone else, in another country, another time, would have imagined a different kind of boy wizard. Not Harry, but someone else. Someone who lived in the shadow of a different war, spoke in a different language, carried a different kind of scar. Because magic doesn't belong to one name, one face, or one author. It lives in all of us. And sometimes all it takes is someone willing to tell the story.